Give them the money. Yeah, give them all the money. But not to all of them. Let's have a look. For now quite some time, the US women's national team for soccer have been seen in the spotlight, asking for equal pay. And the reaction between feminists, football fans, and even professionals varies. So let's have a look why. First of all, we have to make a clear distinction between the US women's national team and the rest of the world. The US women's national team is the best national team in the world, winning back-to-back World Cups and being also extremely consistent with the results. But according to different articles you can find below, the women's national team is being paid the same as the men despite their consistency. And the men are not exactly a top-tier team in the world, and the results reflect that. So to think that they are both being paid the same while one is performing and the other isn't, can seem quite non sequitur. But it seems, however, it's not entirely evident to see how much both teams are generating in terms of profits, since they do not operate under the same group. And that is where lies all the difference. While it's true that men get bonuses depending on the results of the World Cup, the women are paid under a salary and even get employee benefits like healthcare, paid vacation, and much more, while the men don't. So for more details on both contracts for men and women, I highly recommend checking Nate Dollar's video. I'll either point it here or you can see it in the description. It's incredibly good and detailed. Go watch it. But despite all of that, it does seem that the US women's national team are generating more profit than the men. However, I cannot say it is an entire fact because we don't actually have detailed statistics or actual numbers on the profits both teams are making, at least not entirely. So all in all, should the women be paid more? Well, yes, if they operated on the same contract as the men, which they don't. So that is where the difference lays. If we look at Megan Rapinoe's career, we can see that she has played only 123 games at the club level and 173 at the national level, winning 2 World Cups. Meaning she isn't making a salary with the club, but with the national team. And we can see that because she has more games for the USA than for her club, whereas men have a base salary with the club and only bonuses with the national team. As a matter of fact, they play much more for the club than the national team. In terms of prize money, the US women's national team made far less than the France's men team after winning the World Cup. But again, how the prize money is calculated has probably something to do with sponsors, brands, broadcasting, and so on, rather than just gender discrimination. So let's have a look overseas, because the US's problems are everyone's problems, right? So at the club level in Europe, there's absolutely no doubt that they can expect some sort of equal pay, regardless on how you see it. In terms of sponsors, attendance, tickets sold, and even more, the men are just impossible to be compared with. To give you an example, the English Premier League generated 3.1 billion euros from broadcasting and matchday revenues during the 2018-2019 season. Women in comparison had an average attendance of 965. That is 2.5% of the Premier League's 38,168 average. It's also worth noting that the women tickets are actually far cheaper, 1/6 of the Premier League's tickets, and even cheaper than some non-league clubs. Unfortunately, I cannot go into any more specifics about the women leagues because they don't exist, at least publicly. You could probably find some for the modest price of $495. But again, despite looking, I couldn't find any specific numbers, statistics on the revenues or rather profits each women league are generating. Or at least they don't want to pay the price for it. And Mr. Biden, equal pay only makes sense when both men and women can achieve the exact same work, when you cannot distinguish whether a woman or a man did it. In sports, whether you can accept it or not, it just isn't the case. Men are stronger, faster, and according to many, just more entertaining to watch than the woman. But I think that's currently kind of changing in our country, Mr. Biden, am I right? Therefore, you cannot expect equal pay. If we can find a comparison that has nothing to do with sports, I will take movie actors, because as far as I'm concerned, they do not make the exact same salary, and all of this depends on different factors that have nothing to do with being a man or a woman. So Megan Rapinoe, I think you and I can agree that according to the tools and sources that are available for the both of us, that you and your teammates should technically be making more money than the men if you took their deal, which you and your teammates decided not to do. However, it is worth noting that if the US women's national team players were recommended to take this deal rather than the other, and were not given explicitly the option to take the men's deal, then their fight in court, and I guess publicly, makes more sense and is far more honorable. So I do hope we get more details about this case, because right now, the information given by the president, Rapinoe, and the players exclude absolutely everything Nate Delars and I, and probably others, just covered. Let me also remind you once more that in an age of information, ignorance is a choice. Thanks for watching.